Glenn, thank you for that nice introduction. So I'm curious, everyone feeling good today? Yes? Well, good, you should be. And hey, somehow we all made it here at the right place and the right time, right? And I know graduates of the class of 2008, as simple as that may sound, really, half of success in life is sometimes just showing up at the right place and in the right time. So we know that you're good at that half of what's required for success. Graduates, if you're always looking for an immediate payoff in every opportunity, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities that will pay untold benefits in unknown ways years down the road. So in a sense, it's like planting seeds. You don't necessarily know which ones will germinate and pay off, but if you plant lots of them, then some of them will take root and you will be the beneficiary. I'm sure we have a few hockey fans here in the room. And Wayne Gretzky, the ice hockey great, says his father always told him to skate to where the puck is going to be, not to where it is now. So as you look ahead of you at the vast array of opportunities, and you analyze which of them you want to pursue, think about where the puck is going, and I got to be careful as I say that, and figure out if it's the kind of job you want to do, and if it's the kind of job where the puck has already been. So figure out, whether the jobs you're doing are where the puck has been or where it's going. And you, frankly, are in a great position to try and do this because you're young, you can see which things out there are not working, what new things are coming onto the scene. So use your insight and choose a career where the puck is going, not where the puck has been. Let me give you another example from my life. Either I could wait for someone to write that book, or I could go ahead and write it myself. Well, 2 years later, that G1000 book with my name on it is in its 3rd edition already, and it's sold thousands and thousands of copies in the U.S. and around the world. So graduates, when you come to a crossroads, I want you to look left, and I want you to look right. And I want you to think about, where is the puck going? Where do I want to be? So where in aviation is the puck going today? Well, that's a question you need to figure out for yourself. But here are some ideas. Look for the pain points. These are the problems that keep managers and CEOs awake at night. Discover the problems that are costing them time and money, or both. And if you can solve these problems, then you're providing value and you will always be in demand. No matter what you do, make sure you're making a contribution. And make sure that what you're doing feels worthwhile to you. Look for the big things that are just getting started now. These are the things that you want to get involved in. Now, in my case, when I was in high school, the microprocessor was invented. No, that was not 1812. That was in 1971. So just look at what the microprocessor has done in our world since the time when I was just a little bit younger than you are right now. It was the big thing that fueled my first career in the computer industry. It was where the puck was going then, and now it's where the puck has been, if you will. So let's talk what's new and happening now and to where the puck might be going in aviation. Take, for example, green aviation. Let's look at 2 announcements that have occurred literally in just the last 90 days. On February 24th, Virgin Atlantic became the first airline in the world to successfully fly a plane using biofuel. Now, the Boeing 747 flew from London to Amsterdam, burning a mix of 20% babasu nuts from the Amazon and coconuts from the Philippines and 80% standard jet fuel. By the way, in your career, whenever you try new things, I suggest you try nice small pilot projects where the risks are minimal. In this case, Virgin Atlantic ran the fuel in just one of the 747's 4 jet engines. Now, if they tried it for the first time in all 4 engines, you can imagine that flight could have turned into a disaster. Let's move ahead now to April, just last month. Boeing announced that they had successfully flown the world's first hydrogen-powered fuel cell airplane. Now, this was a small 1-seater airplane, but Boeing is now working on a commercial version. Also last month, Aviation Week held a Green Aviation Conference with 3 days of intensive sessions and workshops on maintenance, repair, and overhaul the MRO sector. And they looked at the use of green materials and technologies to improve fuel efficiency and reduce energy cost. So we have a few early examples of green aviation. But if the truth be told, nobody really knows yet what green aviation is. And that is good for you. It means you can be one of the people to step in and define it. write the rules of the game, show others the way, solve the problems, and make the contributions. Second, I think green aviation is really going to be around for a long time. Now, how do I know? Well, it really looks like we're starting to reach an inflection point in green thinking, and things are finally starting to take off. Now, personally, I date the entire green movement back to that very first Earth Day on April 2nd, 1970, when I was in the 8th grade. Several months prior to that day, the New York Times wrote this, and I quote, "Rising concerns about the environmental crisis is sweeping the nation's campuses with an intensity that may be on its way to eclipsing student discontent over the war in Vietnam. A national day of observance of environmental problems is being planned for next spring." Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it's just a coincidence that the green movement once again is springing from college campuses, since that's really where we find a lot of the good ideas and a lot of the youth and vibrance that you all bring. I do know that it's taken 38 years since that first Earth Day until we even started hearing the words green aviation. I think we're at a tipping point at this point where we may go from this being just lots of talk to actually having lots of solutions. So this may be one of those waves that you may be able to ride for at least 10 to 20 years in your career. So I want you to find the waves and ride them. Figure out where to skate to where the puck is going. Now, here are a couple of other green issues. First, we're sitting on the edge of really a potential disaster called 100 low-lead fuel. Huge problem. Or maybe a huge opportunity for some San Jose State graduate to figure out how to solve that particular problem. And then there are carbon emissions. Here are a few facts. The UN says that 2% of global carbon emissions come from aviation, 18% from the autos, 35% from electricity and heating, 9% from cattle production. So fortunately, aviation is a small part of the climate change problem, but it's a highly visible one, and our industry is going to have to step up to the plate and do our share to solve this problem. Now, every company is working on ways today to reduce their carbon footprint. Right now, it's mostly voluntary, but the heat will get turned up to find solutions if we get more regulation in this area, and I think that's really bound to happen. We may find government specifying cap and trade policies. Cap and trade. That means they'll put a cap on the total amount of carbon emissions allowed. Then they'll permit companies that own the property rights to these emissions to trade those rights back and forth among each other. Now, if graduates, if you can help the company you work for find ways to cut your emissions, then your company will become more competitive and can make money by selling its rights to other companies that aren't innovative in cutting their emissions. So cap and trade. You'll undoubtedly hear more about these in your career. Now, besides green aviation, where is the puck going? Well, two words: China, India. These economies are on fire, and there are unparalleled opportunities to work with them. Their commercial aviation industries are booming, and they haven't even begun to start their general aviation industries. My advice to anyone your age and even younger is to learn some Mandarin Chinese. That way, when you meet someone, you can greet them by saying "Ni hao ma," and you'll have gained instant credibility. I know I didn't say that quite as well as I should, because you'll know that they went out of their way to learn their language. Now, class of 2008, the dress rehearsal is over. It's time for you to take your place on the stage of life and play an active role. Now, please remember, every time that you come to a crossroads, I want you to look left and right and at least consider taking advantage of the choices presented to you. Also, take a look at where the puck is going and position yourself there. I also want you to go out and be the active hero of your life. And I'll wait for that airplane. I want you to go out and be the active hero of your life. And if you've been waiting for someone to give you permission to do that, I just did. So the world is in desperate need of your creativity and solutions to our biggest problems. Go forth and make a difference. As you do, you'll inevitably make mistakes. Learn from those mistakes and move on. In the end, you'll be remembered for your gallop and not for your stumbles. So students of the world, I'd like to say shir shir, Chinese, sir, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to speak to you today. Please let me know if I can ever help you in any way in filling in that canvas of the life that you're painting. So class of 2008, you've arrived just in the nick of time. The world needs you and your talents. Godspeed. Thank you.